Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss the poem How to Tell Wild Animals by Carolyn Wells. Now, first of all, let's discuss the title. Now, the title here, Tell. Now, what is the meaning of tell? Tell का मतलब है बताना, किसी को inform करना या advise करना. So, from the title, we come to know that the poet is going to inform us about wild animals. Now, what she is going to inform us about that we'll be reading the poem and then we'll find out. But from the title, How to Tell Wild Animals, it seems to be a very light poem. So let's see whether it is a light poem, an amusing poem or not. So first of all, about the poet. So Carolyn Wells was born on June 18, 1862 in Rahway, New Jersey. After finishing school, she worked as a librarian for the Rahway Library Association, a highly prolific writer. She was known for her children's stories, mystery novels, and humorous verse, and this is one of her humorous verses. She died in New York City on March 26, 1942. Carolyn Wells wrote a total 170 books. Now let's read her poem. First of all, the theme of this poem. This humorous poem suggests some dangerous ways to identify wild animals. So the title, it is How to Tell Wild Animals, and in the poem we are going to identify wild animals, but in a humorous way. While doing so, the poet highlights the most striking features of these animals, wrapping them up in subtle humor. Now this is important, wrapping them up in subtle humor. तो अब poet जो है उसने wild animals के बारे में बताया है, the most striking features of the wild animals, but wrapping them up in subtle humor. The poet has used humorous way to describe these wild animals. Otherwise, these wild animals are dangerous, they're ferocious. लेकिन जिस तरीके से poet ने इनको describe किया है, rather than the reader becoming afraid of these animals, the reader is actually going to laugh when he reads the poem. So the poem serves as a caution for the readers to keep a safe distance in case they happen to come across one such wild animal in a forest. So poem actually serves as a caution, but the caution is reaching to the readers in a amusing way. So you need to remember this. The light-hearted tone of the poem amuses the reader to the core. So the light-hearted tone of the poem, it is light-hearted, it's amusing. But along with that, it also points at the serious danger in the face of an encounter with such an animal. But it is pointing at the serious danger too. So it is serving both the purposes. So this is the theme of the poem. Now, stanza 1. If you ever should go by chance to jungles in the east, and if there should you advance a large and tawny beast, if he roars at you as you are dying, you will know it is the Asian lion. So look at the amusing way to describe Asian lion. So the poet, to begin with, discloses that if you happen to visit the jungles in the east, and if by chance a large and tawny, so tawny here is yellowish brown, beast proceeds towards you, and its frighteningly loud roar takes you on the verge of death. So just the roar of the animal, सिर्फ उसके गरजने की आवाज से अगर तुम बस मरने वाले हो, so be sure that it is the Asian lion. So the poet creates a ferocious image of the lion whose roar is deadly enough to kill a person. So if you are on the verge of death at the roar of an animal, the animal who is large and tawny, yellowish brown beast, so just understand that you have encountered the Asian lion. So this is the first stanza. Simple enough. Now we move on to the next one. Now stanza 2. Or if sometime when roaming around, a noble wild beast greets you with black stripes on yellow ground, just notice if he eats you. This simple rule may help you learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So again, note the amusing lines in the stanza. The poet reveals that while going around the jungle, you may be greeted by a majestic wild beast with black stripes on a yellow ground. So poet कह रहा है कि ऐसे ही उस जंगल में घूमते घूमते अगर आगे you are greeted by, now greeted is welcoming. So if you are welcomed by a majestic and wild beast with black stripes on a yellow ground, so in case that noble animal tries to eat you, So it will help you to learn that you have encountered the Bengal tiger. Now, once the animal is already eating you, so what is the fun of understanding that you have encountered a Bengal tiger? As such, you will be eaten up by the animal. So, well, once you are eaten up, how are you going to learn the rule? So, again, an amusing way to describe a tiger. So, the poet says that in case the animal tries to eat you, so it will help you to learn that you have encountered the Bengal tiger. Now, here the meaning of noble. Now, noble, it is also magnificent, impressive, and majestic in size and appearance. But noble is also humane, decent, and refined. So, the poet has used this word noble in both these ways: magnificent, impressive, majestic, and it also means humane, decent, and refined. So, noble, white here, therefore, it is amusing because the poet is calling the Bengal tiger, the majestic Bengal tiger, as being humane, decent, and refined on one hand, and on the other hand, the poet is saying if the animal tries to eat you. So, again, this is funny. Now discern means to recognize. So the poet says कि अगर वो टाइगर खाने लग जाए तुम्हें तो फिर ये सिंपल रूल है जिससे तुमने ये समझ लेना है, recognize कर लेना है कि the animal that you have encountered is the Bengal tiger. Now next. If strolling forth a beast you view, whose hide with spots is peppered, as soon as he has leapt on you, you will know it is the leopard. It'll do no good to roar with pain. He'll only leap and leap again. So now, then moving ahead, if you come across a beast whose skin has peppered spots, the moment it spots you, he will leap on you and you will come to know that it is a leopard. So you have to understand the words here. So leap here, then lep and lep here. So poet has used this purposely and I'll be discussing them in literary devices. So the poet says that the moment that animal spots you, he will leap on you and you will come to know that it is a leopard. The poet further asserts that once that happens, there'll be no use of shouting in pain, so roaring with pain, shouting or roaring with pain, as the leopard will continue to jump on you. So lep and lep again would continue to jump on you. So this is how to recognize a leopard. Now stanza 4. If, when you are walking around your yard, you meet a creature there who hugs you very, very hard, be sure it is a bear. If you have any doubts, I guess, he'll give you just one more caress. So, in this stanza, the poet announces that walking around in your yard, if you meet a creature who hugs you very, very hard, so just be sure that it is a bear. So a loving hug, affectionate hug from a wild animal, it is very amusing. So the poet says that if some animal in your yard comes and hugs you very, very hard, so just understand that it is a bear. So further, the poet says that if you still have any doubts after the first hug, if you still have any doubts, then your doubts will go when he will caress you once more. Now here, caress actually, it means a gentle or loving touch. So a gentle or loving touch from a wild animal, it is very amusing. So now next, stanza 5. Though to distinguish beasts of prey, a novice might not plus. The crocodile you always may tell from a hyena thus. Hyenas come with merry smiles, but if they weep, they're crocodiles. So now how to differentiate between a crocodile and a hyena? Now, actually you can differentiate between a crocodile and a hyena when you see them. But look at the points that the poet is giving, the differentiating features that the poet is telling us to differentiate between a hyena and a crocodile. So the features itself, they are amusing. So further, the poet feels that it might be difficult for a novice to distinguish beasts of prey. So novice actually here means an inexperienced person. So one can get confused. So non-plus, one can get confused. But you can always distinguish between a crocodile from a hyena, as hyena will come with a charming smile and crocodiles will be seen weeping. So if an animal is weeping, so you should know that it is a crocodile. But if you find a smiling animal, then you should know that it is a hyena. So I hope that till here it's clear. So we find amusing lines in every stanza. Now we come on to the last stanza. A true chameleon is small, a lizard sort of thing. He hasn't any ears at all and not a single wing. If there's nothing on the tree, it's the chameleon you see. So here the poet says that if there's nothing on the tree, so when there's nothing on the tree, how can you see chameleon? But this is the striking feature of chameleon, but it is also producing contradictory statement. So the poet says, lastly, the poet discusses the characteristics of a chameleon, which is small, a lizard sort of thing. It doesn't have any ears and not even a wing. So poet is giving us the features of chameleon, but the poet says that if you find that there's nothing on the tree, be sure that you are looking at a chameleon. So you can see here chameleon, the colors, they are intermingling the leaves. So that is why chameleon, if you see nothing on the tree, so be sure that you are looking at a chameleon. So very simple 6 stanzas, and the poet has given us distinguishing features of all the wild animals in a funny way, in an amusing and humorous way. But the point is caution. Caution that these wild animals are ferocious and dangerous, and we need to keep a distance, a safe distance from them. Now, the central idea, the message of the poem. The poem, it revolves around the idea that each animal in the wild is unique in itself. So that is why different striking features. One can easily distinguish one wild animal from the other on the basis of these distinctive features. The roar of a lion, peppered spots of a leopard, the hug of a bear, etc. They are all exclusive traits of these animals. The poet uses the element of irony, then there's humor and paradox, while cautiously informing the readers about these animals. The poem quite aptly educates the readers to identify these animals in a forest, though at the same time it is not wise to be in close proximity to these animals. It may prove fatal, for they are wild. So the message is, it is educating the reader to identify these animals in the forest, though at the same time it is not wise to be in close proximity. So at one side, when the poet is educating us, the poet is also telling us that even if you know, you can differentiate, but that doesn't mean that you should go very close to these animals. So it's not wise to be in close proximity to these animals, for they are wild. Now we have the important thing, the literary devices. So first of all, rhyme scheme. So rhyme scheme of all the stanzas, the whole poem, it is ABA, BCC. The poem follows this rhyme scheme. Now in stanza 1, what are the literary devices that are used in stanza 1? Let's see one by one. Assonance. Now assonance is in line 1, 3 and 5. Now what is assonance? Assonance is repetition of a vowel sound. So here it is this O sound that is repeating. So this is assonance. Line 3 again, we have here the O sound. Then line 5, let's see line 5, again the same, we have this O sound repeating. So this is assonance. Now next we have enjambment. Enjambment is when one line, so it runs into the next line. So there is no punctuation mark, there is no break between the first line and the second line. So that is enjambment. So here, if ever you should go by chance to jungles in the east, so this is enjambment. The first line is running into the next line. Similarly, this is also enjambment. So it's simple, you just have to see there should be no punctuation mark at the end of a line. If there is a punctuation mark, so there's a pause. But if it's not, so that means that line is running into the next line, and that literary device is called enjambment. Now next one is inversion. Now what is inversion? Inversion is when the structure of the sentence, the order, the subject-verb order is changed to create rhyme and rhythm. So that is called inversion. Invert kar dete hain, subject verb jo order hai. So line 3, and if there should to you advance. So actually it should be you should. So you should advance. So this order, it has been inverted. So therefore the literary device used here is inversion. Poetic license now. Now poets take the liberty to change the spellings of a word or even violate grammatical rules in order to create rhyme or rhythm in the poem. So in line 5, this dine. So the spellings, they have been changed so that it rhymes with lion. So that is why this literary device is poetic license. Now inversion is sentence structure is changed. This poetic license here, it is the spellings or grammatical rules may be changed. Inversion, the sentence structure is changed. So you need to remember the difference. It is the sentence order, subject verb relationship that is inverted here. So this is poetic license. Now next stanza. Here, the first literary device is alliteration. So in line 1, alliteration, r, the r sound, r of roaming and r of round. Next, we have assonance. Again, in line 1, we have assonance. So it is again sound O here. So we have it here also, we have it here also. Now next we have enjambment. Now enjambment in the last two lines. You learn the Bengal tiger to discern. So this is enjambment. Now you know what is enjambment. Then inversion in line 6. So here the Bengal tiger to discern. Actually it should be may help you learn. Sorry, this simple rule may help you learn to discern the Bengal tiger, because discern is to recognize. So learn to recognize, learn to discern the Bengal tiger. So that is why it is inversion, because again the sentence structure has been inverted. Now next is oxymoron. Now oxymoron we have in line 2. I told you the meaning of the word noble. So two meanings. Now in case the second meaning, we take the second meaning where noble means humane. It means decent. So noble and wild, they become contradictory words. They are written together, two contradictory words, so it becomes the literal device of oxymoron. So oxymoron, here we have noble, wild is oxymoron. Now next stanza 3. So here again alliteration in line 3. So we have here he has. So this is alliteration. Then we have assonance, line 1, 2, 5, 3 and 6. Now I hope that you can now find assonance on your own. Then we have consonants. Now consonants is like assonance. Assonance is repetition of vowel sound and consonance is repetition of consonant sounds. So let's see consonant sounds in line 6. So here what is repeating? Which sound is repeating? This is L sound here. Lep, here lep, and here heel. So again it is L sound. This is consonants. Now next is repetition. Repetition is the word lep here and the word lep here. So ये हो गई repetition. Now again poetic license. So poetic license क्या है? मैंने पिछली बार आपको समझाया है. So now I'll only take the example. So line 3 and 6 में poetic license कैसे हैं? Spellings of leapt here. It is actually L-E-A-P-T. Here again leap. It is L-E-A-P, leap. So they have been changed so that they can rhyme and there's a rhythm. So lep with leopard. Again, lep and lep. There's rhythm and there's a rhyme. So that is why this is poetic license. Now stanza 4. We have repetition. Repetition in stanza 4. Very, very. So this is repetition here. Next we have alliteration. Line 1 and line 4. So line 1 we have were here, when, walking. So we can also have a year sound here, you, your and yard. So this is also alliteration. Then in line 4, now line 4 it is be and bear. This is alliteration. Now next is enjambment. So enjambment, again I think it's very clear. So last two lines the thought is being carried forward from 5th to the 6th line. So it is enjambment. Now, 5th stanza, poetic license. So again, poetic license, I've told you what is poetic license when the spellings, they are changed. So here actually it should be might be nonplussed, but it has been taken only nonplus so that it rhymes with thus. So that is why it is poetic license here in second line. When the poet is using the word nonplus with might, actually it should be might be nonplussed. It should be in the past tense. Then we have alliteration in line 2. No and again no sound here. Then we have enjambment. So first two lines, pray, it is going into the second line. Then the third line is running into the fourth line. So it is enjambment. Now, paradox. We have come to the last stanza where there's paradox. I already told you when I was explaining the stanza. If you see nothing on a tree, it's the chameleon you see. So it is seemingly absurd or contradictory statement or proposition which when investigated may prove to be well founded or true. So statements जो है वो contradictory हो सकती हैं, देखने में contradictory लगेंगी, लेकिन अगर उनकी छानबीन की जाए तो वो सही भी निकल सकती हैं. So that is paradox. So these two lines अगर देखा जाए तो if there's a chameleon on the tree, so obviously we won't be able to see it. So these lines are paradox because seemingly they are true. Then alliteration in line 3. So in line 3 we have her sound alliterating here. Then consonants in line 4. So line 4 here, what is the consonant here? And not a single wing. So we have here n sound. This is n sound that is repeating. Now humor. Now it is used by writers to make their writing witty by provoking laughter. So exaggeration, satire, irony, understatement, etc. These are used to bring humor. So in this whole poem, there is a humor that is created by the poet through play of words. And irony in simple words, it is the difference between what is said and what the real or underlying meaning is. So this is meaning of irony in very simple words. So humor and irony, they are replete in this poem. So let's talk about humor first. Humor is quite vivid in the poem How to Tell Wild Animals. While doing so, the poet has put words into play. So words को use करके poet ने humor create किया. So the use of light-hearted words to describe the deadly features of the beasts of prey produce humor. The mighty Bengal tiger is called noble. अब tiger को कोई decent, कोई humane कहेगा तो हंसी आएगी. The powerful grasp of a bear is equal to a loving hug. अब bear आके अगर जकड़ ले और उसे तुम कहो ये तो hug कर रहा है, so again it is going to be amusing. So the crocodile stares, the merry smile of the hyena. They are not inviting but deceiving and fatal. So smile hyena की जो crocodile के tears हैं तो उससे जो दिल melt नहीं होना चाहिए. So they are deceiving and fatal. The technique the poet recommends for recognizing these animals is itself witty. According to the poet, if if you hear, I've missed it, if you hear a loud roar, it kills you. So understand it is the Asian line. So I'm sorry about the mistake here. So if a loud roar kills you, so understand it is the Asian line. If an animal with black stripes on yellow ground eats you, so be sure that it is the Bengal tiger. So the features that the poet is pointing out and the method that the poet has given to recognize, so that itself is amusing. So अगर टाइगर ने तुम्हें खा ही लिया तो फिर तुम जान के क्या करोगे कि that is a Bengal tiger. So creating a paradox in the end, it is also funny. The poet says that if you cannot spot anything on a tree, so it is a chameleon you are looking at. So thus using humor, the poet has successfully cautioned the readers against the beasts of prey. So poet का जो actual पे poet का जो main मकसद है, जो main aim है, that is to caution. But how the poet is doing it is doing it in a light-hearted way, in an amusing way. So this is an important question from this poem. Now let's discuss irony in the poem. Irony has also been used by the poet in a humorous, irony has been used by the poet for a humorous effect. There is irony at play when the poet suggests that if you are eaten up by an animal with black stripes on yellow ground, you will come to know that you have encountered the Bengal tiger, who is noble to say. So, एक noble दिखने वाला एनिमल वो तुम्हें खा जाएगा and उसके बाद तुम्हें पता लगेगा कि वो तो बंगाल टाइगर था. So there is irony in this. Again, it is ironical that a bear would caress you. So as I have already explained कि bear आके तुम्हें grasp कर ले और तुम कहो कि वो तो प्यार से हक कर रहा है. So that is again irony. Thus, the effective use of irony makes the poem funny and enjoyable while bringing home the striking features of these wild animals. So humor or irony, so there are examples that can come in both these cases. So according to the question, तुम्हें अपना जो answer है उसको set करना है. So this is irony. Again, it is an important question. So now these are the image credits that I have used. That's all for today. So I hope that the explanation is clear. Now I'll be bringing up MCQs and important questions in the next video. So till then, do subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, check the playlist. In the playlist, you will get all the other videos. And do give a thumbs up to this video. Bye for now and happy watching.